This is Talk of the Town, a weekly program featuring community events happening in and around Northeast Michigan. With your host, Bradley Summers. And get the latest from Alpena Community College with ACC President Dr. Don McMaster. And now, today's Talk of the Town.
Good morning and welcome to Talk of the Town. I'm your host, Bradley Summers, and today my first guest is Justin Christensen Cooper, Executive Director of the Art in the Loft. Hi, Justin.
Hey, Brad.
How are you today?
This is new.
Yeah, well, we've got some different colors going on here.
I like that.
Happy New Year to you.
Hey, you too.
I know there's always a lot going on, especially, during the winter time when people are kind of indoors looking to do arts and crafts or arts projects and painting, and people are really creative this time of year. But talk a little bit about some of the programs that you have upcoming.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's an interesting time of the year because the gallery during the holidays is bananas, bonkers. I can't tell you how many private events we had, or hosting our own events, or doing coming off our fundraiser. And then the gallery is just, crazy full with holiday shopping and people buying local artists and artisan and craft makers goods and all that good stuff. And now, as the turn of the year, we look at it and be like, okay, now let's slow down and what do we want to focus on? So we use this opportunity where it does slow down a little bit and then really emphasize and amp up what is the heart of our educational programming, because that allows us that time to do that. So in addition to our, they're kind of our at-large classes, anybody in the public ages 5 and up can sign up for these classes. We just revealed our January classes for that, so artintheloft.org or like us on Facebook can find out about those. But we also find this time to slow down and really gather in and get our partnerships in order. You're going to have BJ on here in a minute about our partnership with the Senior Center and what we're doing with them and continuing culinary, art, some things that we're doing over Besser Senior Living as well, just really getting lots of different people involved. Anyway, hang our hat on the fact that it's arts for all at Art in the Loft, and our educational programming really shines through on that. So I want to talk a little bit about our ACES Academy Reach program.
Yes.
Yeah. So that is, Reach is Recognize Everyone's Abilities in Creative Hearts. That was a program we started about 5 years ago with the culmination or the building of our kitchen that's up there. And we wanted to find ways to not just use that for classes, but how can we bring specialized groups up there and really kind of at-risk groups to learn and create and bring community through the arts. And Reach has done that. And the newest edition of that is the ACES Academy Reach. And so we reached out to our friend over at Matt Poley, who is the principal over there, and he's just did a great job getting students around, getting them amped up. We went and did a little presentation to the students over there to try to get sign-ups. And ultimately what we ended up doing is twice a year we're doing an 8-week program, twice a week. 8 weeks, and we just finished one right before Christmas. We're going to do it again after spring break, or right before spring break. And what that's involving is each group, there's a Tuesday group and a Wednesday group. There's about 15 to 20 students in each group. So we'll see 30 ACES Academy students once a week for 8 weeks. And what's happening is they are learning in groups, learning, to get their degree. That's why they're there. They want to ultimately get their degree, but then become employable. So we're giving them that skill. What happens after you get the degree? So if they complete the Reach program, they're not only getting a credit towards graduation, which helps them achieve that first goal, but then we're giving them a skill by being ServSafe certified, food handler certified, kitchen certified. They can put that on their resume, they get their certificate, they can take that to any job application if they're applying for a job. We've already had people hired at Fresh Palette, at the Blue Moon Cafe. Just recently from this last group that applied, put Reach on their resume, and they saw that they had the ServSafe certification. Boom, they snatched them right up.
Well, so, I know John Benson's one of them.
And John Benson is one of them, yes, exactly, right, bingo.
With JJ's.
Yep, and JJ's over there. So, we just found a lot. Not only we wanted to create like this really artistic and fun thing to do with the students, but as we were doing it, and this was the second full year of completing that program, we just found out really what they're getting and taking away from that. Matt Poley came up to us after the first or second time. He goes, these kids are talking to each other. They don't talk to each other normally. And so they were doing that up in the loft and creating community with each other and creating bonds with each other that otherwise they just weren't having. And I'm not saying anything is bad about the atmosphere that they're in. I think the location and their classroom is beautiful now that they've moved back into the high school. But to get them out of that and to put something more tangible and really where they can use some great motor skills and do all that type of thing in the kitchen is just phenomenal.
And the culinary arts is such a fast-growing industry, you know, and there's always a constant demand.
Exactly.
And giving young people, the empowerment of understanding what it takes to go into food service or to be a chef or what it takes.
Right.
You need to start at the ground up.
You have to. In fact, we had Kevin Peterson come in and talk to this group last year. His story is really interesting, how he worked from the ground up in doing this. And then we had Chef Reed come in and talk to him. He did a whole sushi demonstration with the students. And they were able to see, like, oh, someone just like me can actually do this now at this high level. And I think programs like this are really creating that. So,
well, I mean, they start at the ground level. Now they're successful business owners running a wonderful restaurant.
That's exactly it.
And we have such a deep relationship with the local chefs in our community that they love to give back.
Yep, exactly.
So it's just wonderful to hear your partnership and how you're giving those life skills to adding to an awesome class and an awesome program that takes that creative approach.
I appreciate that. Yeah, we're gonna have another 30 students coming at us right around Valentine's Day. So.
And this takes place right during the school day?
Right during the school day. So they come, and actually it's their lunch for that day. So they'll come up at about 11 o'clock. They're there till 1 o'clock on Tuesdays and Wednesdays for the program. And, they kind of took ownership. But the really cool thing about last year's program is they loved being in the loft so much that we actually then hosted the graduation for the seniors that year. We packed that place. There was over 150 family members at the loft, and they just had never seen that type of turnout before. And so I think it was really the students not only buying into the program, but creating those friendships with each other and then having the loft space as their own. And I think it really paid off in the end.
What I thought was actually really neat was, I was lucky enough to be at the Loft event this year, and to see, the understanding of all the donors and supporters in the room there, and to have them understand what this program was all about. And, seeing so many awesome opportunities where people were, donating to it to make this continue and to continue, giving those skills to these young people.
That's exactly it. Well, we just don't want people to come to us and say, oh, I never knew about this. So we got to get ourselves out there, and I'm glad that you were in attendance at the fundraiser. And I think people did hear about that for the first time. That was kind of a real first platform after COVID to talk about our development within our REACH program. And this is such a great, it still is we're still doing a program. Typically that was built around the students with special needs from the high school, from Pied Piper, from Lincoln Elementary, and the junior high. Those were our mainstays, and they still are. But we saw, what is another sort of category or really an area of need that we're not hitting with this REACH program, and we thought ACES Academy right away with those students at risk of not graduating. So
that's perfect.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again for everything that you're doing, and of course, it's the end of our segment today. It always goes. Yeah, I know. We'll get together for coffee and talk more outside the show. But thank you again for everything that you're doing in the community, and you and your team.
Appreciate that.
Putting that first foot forward and making good things happen.
All right, back at you.
Thank you all for joining us for the first segment. Stay tuned for BJ Sander from the Alpena Senior Citizen Center. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Talk of the Town. Our next guest is BJ Sander from the Alpena Senior Citizen Center. Hi BJ.
Hi, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful, thanks.
Hey, thank you for being here.
Yeah.
I think the last time we were on the show, we talked about the dementia program. I think you had a fundraiser that was kind of just ending. And I know, as in the wonderful world of nonprofits, I know that you have a fundraiser just started this past week.
Yes, we've got a whole year of fundraisers planned.
Awesome. We
just started one today. We are doing a raffle, a 50-50 raffle with 2 other place prizes. So $5 a ticket for 50-50. Our goal is to sell 1,000 tickets. So we started off with a bang today. It was amazing, yeah.
And what kind of things does this the fundraiser help with?
Programs, mainly food. As we've been talking, with the price of food, we struggle with our budget, our food budget, because funding doesn't increase just because the cost of food goes up.
Well, you know, and I don't laugh, but you know, when I've asked Annie to be on the show too, you know, all of a sudden it's, you know, maybe there's an employee or two that can't be there, and she's out delivering meals.
Right. And that's been happening quite a bit lately. We've got, you know, the typical illness, the flus, the COVIDs, the bugs that are going around, and when that happens, we all have to just chip in and do what we got to do to make things roll.
Yeah, and you know, I know we've talked many times too about the opportunity to check in with some of your deliveries for the Meals on Wheels program, and I'm sure that program is still rocking and rolling, right?
Meals on Wheels is not only rocking and rolling, we're continuously getting new people added on, because again, those seniors that are out shopping at the grocery store with their limited income, their income's not going up, but the cost of groceries are going up. So a lot of those individuals are opting to go with Meals on Wheels.
Wow. Yeah, and I know you're always very busy. You know,
or coming in for congregate meals that weren't coming in for congregate meals before. Plus, we continue to do our drive-through option, so our numbers just go up every day.
Wow. You know, and you know, one of the things too that, you know, I have always found amazing that your organization does, that I don't think a lot of people, I think a lot of people know about it, but more people should know about it, you know, are your dementia classes.
Oh yeah, that's a huge project for us this year. You know, when you look at what we offer the community with our dementia programs that we do at the Senior Center, we're basically taking the place of an Alzheimer's Association, and that's the spot that we're trying to fill. But trying to find those individuals in our community that are starting that journey, or already in the middle of that journey, or approaching the end of that journey, so we can help them, is a real challenge. So that's our goal for the first quarter of this year, is to reach out and try to find those people. So if anybody else out there knows of anyone that is traveling that journey, please refer them to us so we can help them. Caregiver burnout is huge. The people that we are finding traveling that journey, the caregiver burnout is just horrible.
You know, and I can contest too that, you know, how important of an impact a program like this has on a family. You know, with you know, some things that, you know, in my own family, it's really important, because you know, you see these changes in your grandparents, and you know, you don't really know how to take them, and you know, you're in your own world, and you're going to work, and you have younger kids, and things are going on, and you know, and to be able to sit and talk to people like you and Annie that know what's going on and can help point in the right direction to find those resources is incredible.
It is. It is. It's basically what we do between Annie and myself. It's really priceless to the community. It's something that if you don't know it's there, you're really missing out on it. And you know, we're in the community constantly. We want to get out to some of the churches to make some presentations, just reaching out to everybody. We've got a wonderful program called Dementia Friends, and our goal with that program is to make Alpena a dementia-friendly community. And it just takes an hour to go through that presentation. As a matter of fact, it would be a good opportunity for us to come to the Boys and Girls Club and do that presentation, or have some of the people come to the Senior Center to watch it. Because your average person doesn't know, when they're in the grocery store and they see someone struggling with, am I going to buy this or am I going to buy this, how to approach that person to see if you can help. If they look like they're lost in the grocery store, how to approach that person properly to see if they need help. And those are things that 1 hour presentation teaches people.
Yeah, and these are all really valuable, because we all go to the grocery store, we're all in the community, and when you see someone that's struggling, you want to help.
Right, you do, you do. You either want to help, or some people choose to not see it. And that's not a bad, I'm not saying that those people are bad, it's just that with a little bit of education, you can learn what to do to help, and you don't feel so awkward that you want to ignore it or to look the other way. going to a restaurant. You know, couples go to restaurants and one may have dementia, and some things may happen that people just look away, and that other person may need help with that situation. So it's a challenge. It's a challenge to make people like you and I more comfortable with dealing with those individuals.
Well, you know, and it's a community approach.
Absolutely.
You know, and part of that equation too is, you know, employees and employers, you know, who work at these grocery stores, you know, being able to recognize something like that while they're stocking a shelf or they're helping another customer, you know, recognizing those things and being able to gain those skills where they can better suit the community that supports them. So.
Exactly. And to not, so that person that's traveling the journey with the diagnosis, to not belittle them. We don't want to belittle them. We don't want to make them feel like they're anything lower than what we are. We want them to know that we are there to help them. And I think it's important, I think one of the most important things that I see with couples coming into the senior center is that person still has a voice. That person is still there. So if I'm talking to a couple and one of them has dementia, 9 times out of 10, that person that's the caregiver does all the speaking for the person with the diagnosis. But I encourage that person with the diagnosis to talk. They are still there, they're still present. They may be having some cognitive issues, but they're still a human being standing right there in front of me.
Absolutely.
So that's important.
Well, let's hope there's some people out there watching today that, you know, this information is, you know, tugging at that heartstring or hitting that nerve where it's like, man, I need to pick up that phone, give you a call, and stop in and see what things are available.
And you mentioned relatives. It could be neighbors. If you've got neighbors that you see are struggling with some cognitive issues, just tell them to call the senior center and ask for Annie or myself, and one of us are always available to help out.
And you guys are always there. So.
Yes, we are always there from early morning till in the evening.
Well, thank you again for being on the show today.
Thanks for having us. We appreciate it.
I'm always happy to talk to you in the community, on the show, wherever it is, and you're a neighbor at the club, so it's always really cool to be able to, you know, to partner and do some things. So,
absolutely.
So thank you. Happy New Year.
Thank you, and Happy New Year to you too. It's going to be quite a year.
It's going to be an awesome year. Well, thank you all for joining us today as we continue this road down the wonderful path of nonprofits in our community. Have a great day and have a great weekend.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Talk of the Town. I'm Dr. Don McMaster, president of Alpena Community College. I'd like to take our time together this morning to talk a little bit about enrollment at ACC. Enrollment, of course, is a huge issue and looking very positive. Our classes start January 16th. We have registration all next week. So if you haven't, if you're intending or want or think about coming back to ACC or coming back to for college or to you know, get training for a trade or an upgrade, a skills upgrade, come on in, and we'd love to have you. But here are some of the preliminary numbers as of Monday of this week. So we are showing, compared to last year at the same time in the registration cycle, so it's kind of an apples to apples comparison, that our head count is up over 15%, and our credit hours are up 8.7%. Credit hours are the things, of course, that people pay for. Head count is important. They both are important metrics. But that is a significantly positive snapshot. I doubt that we're going to end up at the end of registration up 15% in head count. That would be just unheard of. But I do think we'll end up in a positive territory. And this is a significant thing on a number of levels. Enrollment represents about 40% of, or the tuition and fees revenue that comes with enrollment represents about 40% of the revenue that the college has to operate. So it's a significant piece. We budget very carefully based on our prediction of what enrollment will be and the tuition and fees that come from that. It's a complicated puzzle, but the budgeting process is important, and we budget conservatively, and in the enrollment environment that community colleges are in generally, and in many private colleges and universities, it's wise to budget enrollment to be slightly down. Over the last 10 or 12 years, except for U of M, MSU, and maybe Michigan Tech, almost every school is down almost every year, almost every semester. This is not because they've forgotten how to do business, it's just a very challenging environment for enrollment. So for us, really, enrollment kind of tracks into three broad areas. Dual enrollment and early college would be one. That is by far the fastest growing pool of students for us. These would be students that are still K-12 students, but are taking community college coursework through us. And it involves a very productive and important relationship between ACC and the K-12s where these students attend, because the K-12s are paying the tuition and in some cases the fees for these students. So that represents a lot of our students. Early college has just really been a terrific success. We are doing it many places in schools large and small. Dual enrollment has been around longer. That is up significantly this semester. I think that probably has to do with the efficiency of our staff in getting those students registered, which oftentimes does not happen this early in the cycle. So that's one pool of students, dual enrollment, early college. A second pool is transfer students, folks that are coming here post K-12 to get a degree or coursework at a lower cost and then transferring to a four-year school to complete a bachelor's degree. Excuse me. And that is a somewhat diminishing pool, but it's a very important set of students for us. They are generally taking things in the Gen Ed area, or what we call general education. And that's an important piece. So our students generally, as the data we get back from the four-year schools, which is somewhat intermittent, but always interesting and appreciated, our transfer students almost always do slightly better than the native students or the students that started these four-year universities as freshmen. This tells me and the trustees something very important about the quality of education that our instructors, our faculty deliver to these folks, and that's an very important piece. And then the third pool is our occupational programs. These can be certificate or one-year programs or associate degree programs. And in one case, a four-year bachelor's degree in electrical systems technology. But the certificate and associate degree programs, they're occupational and they lead into employment. And those are doing very well. You know, the premier program we have in terms of enrollment and probably employer interest is our utility tech, our line workers program. We have both a certificate and an associate's degree there, and they're both packed. And there's a waiting list to get into those programs. And it's a very, very strong, thriving program. In the nursing area, we're up almost 20 full-time students. This is a very good thing. And our auto service program is full and doing very well. Great young instructor, Dustin Ruley, is really driving that forward. There's a lot of there's a lot of change on the horizon with auto service, with electric vehicles and all that battery technology. So these programs sometimes seem static, that they don't change, but they do. And it's our job to change, at least along with the economy in those areas, or preferably slightly ahead. So those are the three areas, and they're all doing pretty well. There's always opportunities for improvement. Sometimes there's programs that are thriving and they cycle down a little bit and then come back. Sometimes programs need to be replaced. We think that through very carefully. But we would love to have you at Alpena Community College and add to these good numbers. We thank everyone at the college for their work on enrollment. We're all involved in that. And thank you folks for watching Talk of the Town. We'll see you again next week.
This has been Talk of the Town with your hosts Bradley Summers and Dr. Don McMaster. For a list of community events taking place in Northeast Michigan, please visit our website at WBKB11.com and click on our community link. This has been a Thunder Bay Broadcasting Corporation production. All rights reserved.